Hello. Welcome to Midweek Manna. It is Wednesday, November the 11th, the year 2020. It is Veterans Day, so many of you might be home from work or you might be out and about. You might have the children running around you, but I welcome you. You are with Holly McKim, pastor of Hudson United Methodist Church here in Hudson, North Carolina. It is a very rainy November day here, which is a good thing because we needed the rain. And I thank you for being here with me and with Kim Burns behind the camera for a little bit of, a midweek pick-me-up. But I have to confess, I'm having some bad luck with plants. It started back in the summer when I thought I would plant some tomato plants. And they were doing good. I had beautiful tomato plants. The problem was they didn't have any tomatoes on them. They would get blooms and then that's where it would end. And so I ended up with about a 7-foot tall tomato plant, multiple tomato plants, and no tomatoes. Different story with the cherry tomatoes. They produced hundreds of cherry tomatoes, but they're kind of hard to slice and put on a sandwich to have a tomato sandwich. Same thing with a cactus. Someone gave me a cactus. I don't know if it's a Thanksgiving or Christmas or Easter cactus. I don't remember that. But since it's been in my possession, it hasn't bloomed. So I recently just moved it. I relocated it from the spot where I thought was a good spot to a different spot. So I'll let you know. We'll see if it starts to bud or starts to grow. It could be that it needs a new pot, maybe. I just thought about that this morning. And then there's another plant. My daughter had it and she asked if I could rescue it. It was dry as a bone and the leaves had bent over and they looked like they had browned where they had bent. I think it's a peace lily. So I soaked it in water. I left it sit to absorb water and it didn't perk up. So I just kind of gave it a pretty severe haircut. And I also found a spot for it. So I'll let you know if my luck with plants gets any better. But what do you do with like a fruit tree that doesn't have any fruit? Now there's a question for you. Do you wait? Do you try to give it more fertilizer or more water? Do you literally try to encourage it? What do you do with a fruit tree that doesn't bear fruit? The Reverend Gloria Hughes, I'm paraphrasing her, she said yesterday in a meeting that we were having, she said, who we are in every aspect and everything we do, our lives, living our lives, every day matters. Every day matters as Christ followers. Paul talks about this idea of fruit and bearing fruit. He puts it in a little bit different terms than, say, apples on a tree or blooms on a cactus. He talks about fruit of the Spirit, as that's a way for people to see the spiritual health of a Christ follower. Stay with me. So if, in Gloria's terms, everything that we do, every aspect of our life matters, then it matters whether or not we have fruit. Paul writes in Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 through 23 about the fruit of the Spirit. And so for the next several weeks, I'm going to spend time on those fruits. Today, I want to talk about the first fruit that Paul writes about, love. Now, this is not the warm, gushy feeling you get when you are around your crush, or that butterfly feeling when you see the person you like or you love. It's not talking about that kind of love. This fruit of the Spirit, this love, in the Greek language is called agape. The Greeks have several words for love, different kinds of love. This love, this fruit kind of love, is a love that gives without expecting anything in return. It is a deliberate attitude of goodwill and devotion toward another. It is giving freely without looking to see if the other person deserves it or not. Now there's a concept. To love like Christ means giving freely, not expecting something in return, and not putting on judgmental glasses to see whether or not the person deserves it or not. How do I know this? How can I be confident in saying this? Well, Christ, Jesus Christ. He wasn't nailed to a cross and then went through a litany, a list of names of people, both past and his present and future, which includes us. He didn't go through a litany of, well, these people I'm going to die for, but not these. These people, if they do this, then I'll die for them. These people are worthy of forgiveness. No. He died for all. It was a kind of selfless love, thinking about others, not whether or not they deserved it or earned it, but whether or not Christ loved. That's an amazing fruit to have. So you might check your spiritual health, your fruitfulness, let's say, by asking yourself a couple of questions. The first question might be, am I giving in order to get something in return? Am I giving in order to get something in return? Or can I love and do for others as Christ has done for me? Can I love and do for others as Christ has done for me? I think if you will examine your fruit, if you are giving and loving freely, without judging, without asking, do they deserve it or not? If you are not expecting anything in return, then you are being fruitful as a Christ follower. Your faith is producing fruit. And if you don't meet that standard, well, guess what? Maybe your spiritual life needs some tending, like my cactus. Maybe it needs some fertilizer. Maybe it needs a bigger pot. Maybe it needs a different window, a different point of view for the sun to shine. Maybe it needs more water. Maybe it needs less water. Try it. See how much fruit you can produce for the kingdom. I hope you will join us again on Sunday at 10 o'clock. We're going to be right here on Facebook Live, Hudson United Methodist Church in Hudson, North Carolina. If you would like our Facebook page, if you want to continue to follow us, turn on your notifications, and we hope to see you again Sunday at 10 o'clock. This has been Midweek Manna, Galatians 5, verses 20 through 22, when Paul talks about fruit of the Spirit. How fruitful are you? Until we're together again, blessings, my friends, blessings.